Amateur Radio News and Notes for Friday, September 12th, 2025. I'm Ed Kabik, November 2 Echo Charlie. In the log this week, we will do a DXpedition spotlight of FP5KE at St. Pierre and Miquelon Islands. We'll talk about some MVARC Nets on the air, see what's happening with DX, get a solar activity update, talk about some upcoming contests, and as always, take a look at some interesting online radio content. Starting Monday, September 15th, 2025, the F6KOP team will be starting their DXpedition to St. Pierre and Miquelon Islands. They'll be on the air until September 26th. St. Pierre and Miquelon is a very interesting island off the coast of Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. While just a few miles off the coast of Canada, it is actually an overseas collectivity of France. The islands are an archipelago consisting of 8 islands, totaling 93 square miles, with a population of 5,819 as of the 2022 census. The islands rank 103rd on the most wanted list on clublog.org. Being so close by, there should be a lot of good opportunities to work the team and get in the log. They plan to focus on human modes like CW, single sideband and ready, but will still be working FT8 and FT4. The F6KOP crew are prolific DXpeditioners, and they have a history of many successful DXpeditions. As always, they will be working split, so don't call them on their transmission frequency. For CW, they say that they will be up 1 to 10 kilohertz, for single sideband 5 to 20 kilohertz, and for RTTY up 3 to 10 kilohertz. They will be bringing an armada of rigs, amplifiers, and antennas with multiple hex beams for the higher bands, VDA antennas from 20 meters to 10 meters, verticals from 160 to 30 meters, and a beam on 6. And they also plan to work satellite modes and Earth, Moon, Earth. With their skill and equipment, this promises to be a big DXpedition that should be fairly easy to get in the log. Good luck, and good DX. Now it's time to talk about some MVARC Nets on the air. Every week on Tuesday, we have our 2-meter FM net at 7 p.m. on the repeater, immediately followed by the 2-meter digital net using Yaesu System Fusion C4 FM. And on the weekends, we have our MVARC slow-speed CW Roundtable Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 a.m. on 3.565 megahertz on CW. And we will slow down to whatever speed you're most comfortable at, usually around 12 to 15 words a minute. Also, following that, at 8:30 a.m. on 3.920 megahertz on Saturday and Sunday, we have the MVARC Cherry Tree Net, where we always have a lively discussion, and you're always welcome to join us. Now let's take a look at what is going to be happening with DX. There is going to be a good amount of DX on the bands this week, including St. Maarten, Svalbard, St. Pierre and Miquelon Islands, as we were talking about, Christmas Island, Karpathos Island, Norfolk Island, Annobon Island, Palau, Banaba Island, Tanzania, Rwanda, Colombia, Mali, Palestine, Equatorial Guinea, Kuwait, Solomon Islands, and Antarctica. A calendar of DXpeditions can be found at dxnews.com/calendar. And now let's check in with a solar activity update. As we go to press, the solar flux index was 115, and the estimated sunspot number was 92, with 7 numbered sunspot regions visible here on Earth. Over the last week, the SFI has decreased, and solar activity has been at low levels recently. The geomagnetic field was at quiet to active levels, and the KP index reached 4 yesterday. The solar wind peaked at 502 kilometers per second, and solar activity is predicted to be at quiet to unsettled levels today, and at quiet levels Saturday, and at quiet to active levels on Sunday. The chance of solar radiation storms at the S1 or greater level is low at 1% today through Sunday. R1 to R2 radio blackouts are possible in the near term, with a predicted probability of 30% through Sunday. R3 or greater blackouts are unlikely, with a 1% chance predicted today through Sunday. There is a chance of 6-meter propagation, so keep an eye on the band and spotting clusters to be ready for the next time the magic band does its thing. HF conditions have been favorable overall, and it remains a fantastic time for amateurs to get on the air and work the world. Good sources of real-time solar information include spaceweatherlive.com and solarham.com. A good overview of conditions can be found at dx.qsl.net/propagation. To see D-layer absorption data and associated radio blackouts, check out the NOAA DREP page. And to see real-time maximum usable frequency, or MUF, and critical frequency, or FOF2 information from Radio Sun data, visit prop.kc2g.com. Now it's time for some upcoming contests on the contest calendar this weekend. We will see the ARRL EME contest, a little Earth, Moon, Earth for you, and the WAE DX contest on single sideband. SKCC's weekend sprintathon will also be happening, as will the Africa FT4 DX contest, the ARRL September VHF contest, the North American Sprint on CW, the IRTS 70-centimeter Counties contest, the IRTS 2 meters County contest, and the 4 States QRP second Sunday Sprint. As always, the K1USN SSTs, the MSTs, and the CWTs will also be on the air. The full contest calendar with events and exchanges can be found at contestcalendar.com. And finally, let's take a look at some interesting online radio content. Adam, K6ARK, Mark, KD7DTS, and Tim, N7KOM activate multiple soda peaks with a bug. So much for the lightweight stuff on this one. Walt, K4OGO, shares his favorite sites for checking propagation conditions. I'll give you a hint. Some of them we may have just mentioned a little bit earlier in the program. Kevin, 2E0 Whiskey Mike Golf, does some DXing at dawn. Alan, W2AEW, shows how to characterize a directional coupler with a VNA. Matt M0DQW shows off a new portable shortwave radio using both the SI and TEFS chipsets. Mike, K8MRD, sets up a shelter to activate portable in the woods. Tom, N3WS, talks about his thoughts on the Buddy Hex antenna. Josh, KI6NAZ, tries to do 3-mode POTA with a sub-1 pound setup. Walt, K4OGO, takes the QRP Labs QMX Plus Beach Portable. Mike, K8MRD, evaluates new lower loss RG174 from ABR. NanoFix teaches his wife how to solder with tiny surface mount components. Hayden, VK7HH, talks about how to best wrap your coax. Sean, W9FFF, takes a look at the Malahit DSP2 radio. NanoFix talks about what diode mode is on your multimeter and how you can use it. Matt M0DQW takes a look at network-attached storage to archive files from an SDR. Kevin, KB9RLW, tests out a loop-on-ground antenna for receive. Walt, K4OGO, gives an overview of the USDX and USDR radios and his thoughts on them. Rob, N1NUG, builds a doublet antenna. Mike, M0MSN, installs a Yaesu 101 MP in his shack. Oystein, LB8IJ, builds a paddle with a potato for POTA. George, VK2AOE, installs a CW filter in a Yaesu FT101E. Steve, KM9G, looks at cheap and fun antennas. And finally, Mike, K8MRD, shows his new bag for his QMX. Well, that is it for this week. I've been Ed, November 2 Echo Charlie. Thank you so much for joining us as always. I hope you have a great week ahead. Best 73, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.